This is the Aston Martin DB11, a car that's so new you can't even buy it yet. And now I'm going to drive it, courtesy of Aston Martin Summit in northern New Jersey. Right now, let's get started. Open the door to the DB11 and the very first thing you'll find is leather. Lots of leather. Of course, there's leather on the door panels, and obviously leather on the seats, and the steering wheel, and the headliner, and the dashboard. And the best one, the latch to get into the back seat isn't some unsightly black plastic. It's a leather hoop. Pull it, and the seat whirs forward to allow access to the rear. Now, the seats aren't the only thing in this car that whir automatically. One of the most interesting features is the center console. Unlike in every other car where it's just a latch you open and close, in this one, push a button and then it opens right up. Want it closed? Push the button the other way and then it closes. Another interesting item that whirs automatically in this car, check out these stereo speakers on the dashboard. Now, they're down when the stereo is off, just like in every other car, but turn the stereo on and they automatically rise up to provide you with the best sound experience. Speaking of the stereo, want to change the volume? There's no stupid knob like in old peasant cars. Just slide your hand over the volume control and the volume goes up and down at your whim. Now, this is the very first DB11 at Aston Martin Summit. In fact, I suspect this is the very first DB11 in all of New Jersey. And so this dealer has ordered it with some exciting options to show off to potential customers. The result being a total price of $254,084. My favorite option is as follows: under bonnet jewelry pack. What could that possibly be? So I opened the hood to find out what the underbonnet jewelry pack could be, and it turns out you pay $2,270 for gold trim on the Aston Martin logo and various other items under your hood. But I'm glad I got to open the hood because it gives me the chance to demonstrate my favorite feature in the entire DB11, and one that goes a long way to showing exactly how much attention to detail went into this car. Now, in a normal car, you go to shut the hood and it's this ungraceful affair where you slam it down and then you search around for the latch and then you push it. Not in this one. In the DB11, to shut the hood, you start by shutting the hood like normal and then it latches itself. Now, if you're familiar with modern luxury cars, you've probably seen this feature before on doors. But the hood? Most Aston Martin owners will probably never even open their hood, which means that Aston Martin didn't really have to do this. But they did it anyway, just to make the process of closing your hood a little bit more elegant. Speaking of elegant, Aston Martin decided this car wouldn't look that great with a giant rear wing like some modern exotics have, so instead they created one you can't see. Air goes in here into the aero blade, as Aston Martin calls it, and then it comes out back here, providing the same downforce that a real rear wing would have, except you don't see it. With that said, owing to modern trends, Aston Martin did also create a little spoiler in the trunk that rises up when you get to a certain high speed. Now, check out the gauge cluster. Right now we're in GT mode. Put it in Sport mode, and the tach shifts for some reason. Put it in Sport Plus, and it all turns red. I'm not quite sure why, but that's kind of cool. But changing the mode from Grand Touring to Sport Plus does more than just change the gauge cluster. It also makes a variety of other revisions, the most noticeable of which is to the exhaust note. Take a listen in Grand Touring mode. And now in Sport Plus. The door panels also include maybe the only thing I don't really like about the interior door handle. It's oddly positioned. Instead of being easy to grab with your hands so you can open the door, it's facing the wrong direction, so you have to reach around it if you want to get out of the car. The rest of the interior is very Mercedes-y, owing to a recent cooperative agreement between Aston Martin and Mercedes-Benz. For example, the infotainment controller is identical to what you'll find in a modern Mercedes. So is the DB11's center screen. Mercedes-Benz even provides the stalks that are coming from the steering column. And by the way, there are a lot of them. Now, if you know Aston Martins well, you probably think the DB11 is a hatchback like the DB9 and the V8 Vantage, but actually, it has a trunk. A rather large and very well carpeted trunk. Now, earlier on, I mentioned the DB11 has rear seats, and yes, that's true. Indeed, they do exist, but, well, I'll show you the problem. Maybe they're not for adults or anyone over 2.5 feet. And with that, it's time to get the DB11 out on the road. But first, an overview with a few specs. The DB11 is all new for 2017 with gorgeous, striking styling and, more importantly, a twin-turbocharged V12 that makes 600 horsepower and 516 pound-feet of torque. The DB11 has rear-wheel drive and 8-speed automatic transmission, not a dual clutch, and does 0 to 60 in 3.9 seconds. And now, time to drive. So I'm starting out in GT mode. First impression, surprisingly quiet, nice and plush. The seats are so soft and comfortable. The leather in these seats, it's not just like, oh, we threw leather over some seats. It's like we found the softest, plushest leather. It's so nice. If I were buying this car, I'd probably skip the light tan dashboard because you can see some reflections in the windshield, which is not what you want. The ride, even in GT mode, is a little bit harsher than you'd expect from a Bentley or something like that, but it's not, it won't kill you. It's not so bad. I mean, around town, it just sort of drives like a normal automobile. It doesn't even have that much noise to it. You really have to get into Sport Plus in order to make the noise really happen, which is kind of nice. If you want a car that you can just drive around without having to wake everybody up, not everybody wants a screaming Lamborghini. All right, I'm gonna put it into sport mode. I got a Honda Pilot in front of me. It's everybody's worst nightmare. Wow. Oh, it's tremendously fast. Incredible how much faster it is than my old V8 Vantage. The cornering is tremendous, of course. Car stays very flat. Now, Sport Plus, the ride is a lot harsher and you can feel it. But the trade-off is, here I'm coming around a nice corner. Oh, the steering is great. A little over-assisted, but the handling is tremendous. And there is no body roll. You think of these cars as Grand Tourers, but in this age of adjustable suspension, adjustable steering, sport mode, regular mode, they're able to make these cars be everything. If you want it to be a Grand Tourer, fine. If you want it to be a true sports car and bomb down these curvy roads, that's fine too. The thing about this car is it's no Ferrari 488 around corners, and that's fine. It's also no Bentley Continental in terms of ride quality, and that's fine too. But if you want to combine the two, very few cars are going to offer you the ability to have near Ferrari cornering capabilities and near Bentley ride quality and beauty and leather and craftsmanship. And so that's everything you need to know about the Aston Martin DB11. Plus, one more tidbit. Having owned an Aston Martin V8 Vantage for most of the last year, I can confidently say, having driven this car, that Aston Martin has come a long way in 10 years.